Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fly's Presser, a new segment on the Pies Footy YouTube channel. It is not the Pies Presser. That is a separate show. What we're aiming for with this segment is to react to the two interviews that Fly conducts on a weekly basis in season. We react and break down what he says to the nth degree. I've really enjoyed Fly's press conferences this year for many reasons, but more because of, I feel like he's more open with what he shares with the world, and I like the way he speaks at times. There was a bit of spin last year, but I think he's really grown into these interviews as he's grown into the coaching role. And now it's time to talk all things black and white. All right, Fly, what have you got for us going into this massive clash against Hawthorn? Let's hear it.
Fly, you might have noticed there's less journos on this side of Olympic Park and more over that side. What was your reaction to hearing the Simon good news this morning?
Yeah, I called up my wife, sent me a text saying that Simon had unfortunately lost his job, and my sympathy go out to him. I hope he's well, him and his family, and it's a challenging role, this one, and it's just sad to hear that he's lost his job.
We'll brush over this one really quickly because it's Melbourne. It's completely unrelated to what exists within our four walls and what we care about. But I really think Melbourne are the type of side who could rebound next year, and it's disappointing that Goody is not going to be a part of that. I rated him as a coach, and look, even if Melbourne do well next year, it's a lot of that will be off the back of Goody's work with his team. So, anyways, let's move.
Speak to the legacy he leaves as that club. I think he's the only living premiership coach. Just with your battles against him, there's been a few famous ones.
Yeah, well, that's real. Premiership coaches, it's hard to win these things, and then for him to be maybe the only living one, I didn't know that, but he's left a big footprint in that footy club. And
by the way, I can't stand how the audio from the journos is like they don't have mics. There's a lot of clamour in the background.
Those that are close to him
track today,
we'll celebrate that, and the club itself would celebrate that.
It looked like Nick Dacos wasn't out on the track today. How likely is he to get up on?
No, Nick will play. His loads have been managed. We've gradually been doing it more and more throughout the week because his GPS is really high match day, so he'll be available. Yep.
Bobby Hill, I didn't see him today.
The buzzword for Collingwood this year has been management. But look, at the end of the day, if we want to narrow it down to this specific conversation about Nick Dacos during the week, as long as he shows up on game day and can put out the numbers that he needs to put out, and he's not going to lose his touch, which they probably do when they're indoors leading into the session, so that the skill, the touch work is there anyways, that baseline. I'm not overly stressed about Nick Dacos not training in what point are we in the season, round 21, 2025. Get him to the final series and make sure he plays every game.
Okay with Bobby.
Gastro, it's a bugger. We'd love to get Kepi moving. It's just unfortunate. So he may be in doubt. We'll have to see how he goes the next 24 hours, knowing we're only 48 hours from playing. So he'll be in doubt, I think. Fingers crossed.
Spewing about that, and literally Bobby Hill would be spewing, metaphorically we're spewing right now about the gastro that Bobby Hill has been struck down with. It's unfortunate. There's still 48 hours or so. So that's a contagious sickness, isn't it, guys? So it's a tricky one to navigate around, but it is what it is. We're going to have to do it the tough way as we have grown accustomed to.
Strikes Collingwood more than any other club. I've heard it happen multiple times a year.
Maybe we're just a bit more transparent.
There's a few moving parts with selection, but are you hopeful Jeremy, and then does Billy get the recall as well?
Yeah, Jeremy will definitely play. He got through today well and excited to play. Billy's name will come up into consideration. Yep. I loved his game at VFL. I really enjoyed that. The week before was about getting minutes. This week was about performance, and he performed well. He'll put some question marks around match committee around his magnet. Yeah.
He'll put some question marks around his magnet. Well, what does that imply? Now, I'm looking at this from two different lenses. The first one is he doesn't want to give away too much in the press conference. Fair enough. But whether what are you giving away anyways? The team, Hawthorn, are prepared. They're going to be prepared for multiple different scenarios, whether Billy Frampton plays or not. So let's kick that one to the curb. Why not just come out and say, if you are, why not just come out and say, yeah, we're going to play Billy. He's back. Billy's back. He's been a mainstay for us all year. He's been our best defender at times. What are you considering otherwise? Are you considering Charlie Dean again? Are you considering a side without Charlie Dean and Billy Frampton? That is mind-boggling. I hope I'm not overreacting. I would have liked some assurance, some solace in hearing Fly say, yep, Billy got through VFL, regardless of whether he performed well or not. He's straight back in the side. Why does he do this with Billy? Why? He did this with Billy last year, in and out of the side, throws him off, and then he comes in and he looks like a headless chook on the field. Come on.
Reviewed the game against the Lions. What did you pick out, Craig, in terms of what you can fix up in this, on this short turnaround?
I had a crazy story after the game. I locked my keys in my car and I couldn't get in. So I got locked out at about midnight, and my computer was in the car, which was a good thing. So I couldn't watch the game for 24 hours. So I went home and watched it on KO. So I watched the first half, and it was time to go to bed at half time. We were playing pretty well. So my initial thoughts on seeing us, we did a lot right. And then there's little parts of our game that we're getting feedback around. That we just got to keep tidying up. And I stand here much rather get those lessons learnt now or the feedback now than 3 or 4 weeks time and go, oh geez, I didn't know that was part of our game. Oh God, here we are. Now we're fighting for our lives, for want of a better term. But I think we did a lot right and lots of little things to tidy up.
I largely agree with the way he's articulated what he saw against Brisbane, and what I see outside of the selection blunders. We've already spoken about that at great lengths. I think there's just a lot of spot fires that just need to be tamed. I don't think it's the world is ending for us and we're no longer premiership fancies. I think, all right, there's a few things game plan wise that we can make adjustments with regards to, and that will be what will be will be.
Of teams sort of taken away from them in the last 2 weeks?
Well, there's fractional little things. You'd argue the contest last week, but the week before our contest was strong, so it's probably a week-to-week thing. Opposition last week smashed us at contest and clearance, mainly in the second half, and so then that became a cost for us to lose territory. Then we got a bit stuck with our ball moves. So there's little things that we can just look at straight away.
I like it. He's giving us word. He doesn't have to say all this, but it gives us, as fans, an idea of what they're seeing, and it's nice to know that what we're seeing, they're also seeing and acknowledging.
Fix that. We can fix that. The exciting thing with our group, we've got.
You know what I might do to speed this up for you guys? I might go 1.5. Let me know if this is the best way, or if maybe moving as we grow into this show, maybe I can just put the quotes like down here rather than the video. But you let me know if what your preference is.
Strong leaders that want to get better every day. So they're driving agendas around that, and then we have coaches that are hungry to improve, and so we put things in front of the group really quickly and say, hey, let's fix this, or let's focus on this and look for improvement.
Just with the 11 touches on the weekend, you've spoken about trying to get the ball more in his hands, but what levers can you pull in the last few weeks led in the finals?
Yeah, whether it's a positional one, I'm not sure, but we want the ball in his hands, and we, if you watch training today, he was significant in that. We went through him a lot, and there's some of that on him and us. Some way the game's played at times. If you're just playing straight down the line, kick it to our keys, he's not going to touch the ball much. So we've got to look at little ways we can change that.
So I'm glad he said what I was seeing last week, and that was a lot more ball in hand for Dan Houston at training. I can understand for 3 quarters, I can probably agree that Dan Houston, the game was truthfully not played into his hands the way the game just panned out. The 4th quarter, however, I felt like he had opportunities to pull the trigger on some difficult kicks that we pay a lot of money and we give up a lot of draft capital for to get that guy in our team, and that's Dan Houston. We didn't see that in the 4th quarter. I think Fly, if he hasn't mentioned it or he's about to mention it, talks about hints at maybe a positional change for Dan Houston.
a really high standard at Port Adelaide, and you knew what you were getting when you went out and traded for him. So is it just taking him a little bit of time to acclimatise to the system, or is there something more that you guys can do as coaches?
It's subtle. It's really subtle. I think this, again, the way we move the ball, if it becomes boring to play, boring to watch, well, Dan's not going to touch it much. And then so we adjust that potentially. And then you've got other levers of where we're playing in certain ways. We have a lot of high.
Yeah, so that's one of the variables they're looking at, maybe positional change.
Forward half game, he's sort of sitting back. Again, we saw little snippets of growth in the month prior, and I was excited for it.
It was weird. There were times where Dan Houston was the deepest defender. There were situations where it was Dan Houston on Eric Hipwood in the last quarter, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah, let's judge it to full course, but I think Lockie Schultz is a great example. It takes a bit of time to adjust to our system.
Consistent theme that we've spoken about with Dan Houston is the Lockie Schultz conversation, albeit a little bit different given the context of where Collingwood is at in each season. But it's a worthy conversation.
I'll leave it alone. I haven't, but I'll leave it alone.
So they're just talking about the Jack Silvani. They're teasing the second date and all that sort of stuff, and Flyers just pretty much just shut this down, which is fair enough. Like, he's already said what he said in that first interview. Whether he was given rite of passage by Silvani to disclose that they caught up or not is another thing. But let's just move quickly from this.
It's an interesting one. We're sort of.
Tom Mitchell, you used to look Tom Mitchell this week. What do you think your best midfield balance is leading final?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. We're working it out. We are working it out, and there's some weeks we just feel like we're just going to be a high contest stoppage game and go. We might need some balls in there and high tackle numbers. Other weeks we think we can get this team on transition, so let's pick a team according to that. So there's been a little bit of mixing and matching for that.
Josh went into midfield again in the last quarter.
This Ned Long and Tom Mitchell conversation, I found it leaves me curious because as this conversation develops, they go into the conversation of, all right, well, in the finals, are you going to pick Ned Long if it's a two-way transition game? And if it's a heated contest, expected to be a heated contest and high stoppage game, are you going to bring in Tom Mitchell? But my argument to that is, I understand the idea of horses for courses, but is that I've never seen a team go the horses for courses route late in the season in the final series, where it's one and done with these teams. In the NBA, for example, is different because you play a team 5, 6, 7 times in the final series, so there are going to be different matchups and different looks. So, yeah, I just don't love the idea of mixing and matching relative to the opposition in the final series. I think you have to settle with the best 23.
Against Gold Coast, do you think is that going to remain like a break glass in case of emergency thing, or do you use him?
Look, to be honest, I just sit on the bench and go, come on, let's do more. I don't want to ever stand still. Come on, we're 3 goals down, let's do something. Come on, what can we do? Let's get Josh in there, we'll give us a bit of a spark. We just don't want to just go to the line and go, they got us today, this is too good. And rightly, they were too good on the day, but it's not from a lack of trying.
I was talking about Josh Dacos in the middle. I think it'd be nice to see a little bit more of Josh Dacos in the middle, put Nick Dacos off the half-back flank at times, and bring that dare back. Bring that dare back that we're lacking at the moment. We're a bit too conservative going long down the line at the moment.
To try things and make us better.
You talk about just really the Long and the Mitchell and horses for courses. Are you looking to try and cement that mix leading into finals, or is there a world where you face Brisbane in a prelim, let's say, and you go, right, this is what we need this week, let's switch it around. It's going to be a week.
Again, that's a bit of ladder predictor stuff. I don't know what the future holds.
So Xander Maguire asks, well, what if we verse Brisbane again? Are you going to pick Tom Mitchell over Ned Long, even if Ned Long has played the other preceding finals? And then Fly, he dodges this question, so we'll skip. He does dodge this question.
Has I think you'll build up your scouting of them.
Yeah, I think we'll concentrate on us, but having awareness around what they're doing. We'll put some energy in what we think is our best look down back to. Again, we're still the number 1 points against team in the competition, so we're doing a lot right in defence. So we'll just see what that looks like. And, they've got a lot of smalls too. They're pretty dangerous. We're going to make sure we get our tackles right this week. Well, I got a shirt on for starters, and we've all got one of these.
I think, and shout out Sidebottom. I don't mean to be rude and skip this, but we just want to address the big points in this interview. Shout out Sidebottom and Perryman.
I'm wrapped if that's the case. I need to mention that they want to play on one and have the energy to play on. It says a lot about our environment. I'll be the first to make sure I congratulate them, but I haven't heard that.
You've been hunted to the top of the table for the best part of 2 or 3 months, probably. Is there any switch of mindset? I know the latter positions don't mean everything, but just a slight change that you're not there anymore.
Oh, no, I think this group likes to chase things. I know that's real. There's a bit of a thrill of the chase. We've had that for years. You get 3 or 4 goals down, okay, here we come. I know the leaders speak about that, but we're just going to control our own narrative, really. And getting in the form that we know this is going to represent and be hard for others to play against, and we don't feel that that's far away.
Pretty generic response there. So, but it's a professional response, and that's all you can ask for a question like that. You want him to say, yeah, we're we're going to embrace the challenge, and that's what it is. But guys, that will do for this fly presser. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Is there any different way we should go about this, and do you enjoy it? As always, go Pies.